Hi, I'm Maya from Bookworm Dreams and welcome to a new video. Today I'm going to wrap up my Buzzword Reading Challenge and tell you about all the books I want to read for this year's Buzzword Reading Challenge. So the Buzzword Reading Challenge is a reading challenge created by Kayla from Books and Lala. First, it started as a short readathon and then it developed into a year-long challenge. Kayla creates a list of buzzwords that you can find in various books and then gives you this buzzword as a prompt for you to read for that month. So you have 12 months of the year and 12 prompts. Last year, I did this reading challenge by only reading science fiction books because when I looked at my 2021 reading, I saw that I didn't read a lot of science fiction books. So I decided that in 22, I want to read more of them and found this challenge, and I thought this would be a great opportunity for me to read more sci-fi, which is good in theory, but after looking at all the books that I've read, not a lot of them stand out as like, oh my god, it was so good. So yeah, this challenge might have mixed results. I mean, I read more sci-fi, but I had mixed feelings about the things that I've read. So I'll just quickly go through the prompts for last year's and the books that I read for that. I have reviews for most of them. My program ate my December wrap up. But most of them I have reviewed, and I will leave the playlist to all the reviews that I have done throughout 2022. If you are curious to hear more thoughts about these books, check out the playlist. I'll be reading mostly from my laptop, so sorry. So for January, the prompt was I call them WH words, but the 5 W's, so when, who, why, what, and so on. And for that, I read Ruby Dixon's Ristaverse series. So that would be when she's ready, when she dances, when she purrs, and so on and so on. It's a alien romance, and they're really fun. For February, the prompt was pronouns, and for that, I read Do You Dream of Terra 2 by Tammy O. It was frustrating because teenagers in space. For March, the prompt was location, and for that, I read The Doors of Eden by Adrian Tchaikovsky. That was really good. I like that. I think that was my first Tchaikovsky book, so it was fun. For April, the prompt was big and little, and for that I read Sleeping Giants by Sylvain Novelle. I really enjoyed that. The audiobook was really good. For May, the prompt was direction, and for that I read The Space Between Worlds by, I think the author's name is pronounced Makaya, but I could be wrong, Johnson. It was alright. For June, the prompt was all, and I read Between All Possible Worlds by Karen Lord. That one was interesting. For July, the prompt was book-related word, and for that I read The Book of Joan by Lydia Yuknavich. That one was weird. For August, the prompt was item or object, and for that I tried to read Mortal Engines by Philip Reeve by DNF'd because after 90 pages I did not care about anything, so I DNF'd. For September, the prompt was light or dark, and for that I read Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. It was fine. Not all that keen on Blake Crouch as everyone else seems to be. For October, the prompt was creatures and myths, and for that I read Parasite by Mira Grant. That one was a typical Mira Grant book. It was fine. Then for November, the prompt was a word ending in ing, and for that I read Killing Gravity by Corey J. White. Could have been cooler. And for December, the prompt was numbers, and for that I read Mickey 7 by Edward Ashton. Has a very cool premise. Overall, it's kind of weird. And now let's talk about my 2023 TBR. I'm going to keep the same goal to read only sci-fi books for these prompts. I will leave the link to Kayla's announcement for the 2023 reading challenge for Buzzword, so you can check it out. And if you want to create your own TBR, you can do that. January prompt is Life and Death. And for that, I already read The Luminous Dead by Caitlin Starling. It was frustrating. It was frustrating because I thought it would be different. I'll talk about it more in my January wrap-up. For February, the prompt is verb, and for that I'm going to read Falling Sky by Rajan Khanna. I might have mispronounced the author's name, I'm sorry. I was making this TBR like in the middle of December. So then I knew what these books were about. I don't know now. So I'll just tell you what the book is. And, if something sounds interesting by the title and by the cover, you can check it out for yourself. For March, the prompt is Secret, and for that I'm hoping to read Secret of the Martian Moons by Donald A. Woolham. I might have mispronounced that, sorry. For April, the prompt is Emotions, and for that I found a book called The Cruel Stars by John Birmingham. For May, that was the most difficult one to figure out. The prompt is Flavors, Seasonings, and Herbs. And I found Rosewater by Tate Thompson. I think this reading challenge is mostly created for thrillers and romance stuff where you can find these lots of these kinds of words. Not so much in science fiction. So, I mean, if you know of any, please do share. So I can read books that have flavors, seasoning, or herbs in the title. For June, the prompt is Other, and for that I picked Bloodchild and Other Stories by Octavia Butler. I think this is her collection of sci-fi stories. For July, the prompt is Weather, and for that I picked Two Like the Lightning by Ada Palmer. For August, the prompt is Body Parts, and for that I'm going to read Skin Deep by Brandon Sanderson. This is, I think, book 2 in his Legion series, duology, whatever that is. For September, the prompt is Game-Related Words, and this is the book I'm looking forward to the most, which is probably I'm going to read it sooner than September, and that is Won by an Alien by Amanda Milo. For October, the prompt is Magic, and for that I found a book called Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom by Cory Doctorow. For November, the prompt is Good, and this one I stole from Rachel from RK Stumbling Bear because I could not find anything that has good in it, and that's not Becky Chambers. I basically stole her pick for this, and that is Goodbye to the Sun by Jonathan Navarre. I think Navarre is the name. And for December, the prompt is Sound-Related Words, and for that I picked Empire of Silence by Christopher Rucchio. This is also a book that might be read before December. That's my TBR for this reading challenge. If you are going to participate, please do let me know down below. And if you have some cool ideas for some of the prompts, please do share them down below. If you like this video, please press the like button. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and press the bell button to get notifications whenever we post new videos. And that's it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!